Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, as it should, because we need your good spirits. Because when you're in a good mood, you listen better. That's all. When you're in a bad mood, you don't listen at all. You know how it is. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay? But hopefully you guys are doing well. I missed you guys yesterday. Something crazy was going on with my internet all day long. So hopefully the internet won't be weird today, because there was a lot that I wanted to cover yesterday that I didn't get a chance to. And so we're going to do some catch up today. You're going to be seeing me a bit today. Okay. But I do appreciate you guys being here. This has been something that has been requested quite a bit, this particular case. And so, okay, I was like, I heard you guys. I hear you. It's about that time to have this conversation, talk about this, and cover this case. So by many requests, I am covering this particular case. And I appreciate a lot of you guys for letting me know about this case. So do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Of course, if you're watching on other platforms, hit that reaction button, that like button, etc. That would mean the world to me so very much. Do not forget to hit that follow button if you're watching on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X. Follow me on all those social medias. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, crush that subscribe button over here as well. Again, let me just say this again. If you hit that like button down below, it helps get the word out there, helps bring more light to this particular topic, to this particular case. And hopefully we can help get some more clarity, get some more transparency for this family that is desperately needing help in solving this mysterious demise of their 19-year-old loved one, which we're going to get into in just a minute. So hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. That would really, really mean a lot. Of course, if you want to support the channel, by all means, hit that join button down below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you want to support the channel even further, please go over to patreon.com/the Pascal Show. It's right underneath me. It's about to come back right there. See right there, going that way. Okay, in the ticker scrolling across that way right now. So if you want to support, by all means, go over there. Check out patreon.com/the Pascal Show. These purple lights do not pay for themselves, okay? It's just from hard work and support by viewers like you. So go check it out. If you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right. Anyway, we got to get into this. And Christina, yes, Christina Gray, this is live. Yes. If you're asking, is this live? Yes, this is live. All right. So we got to get into this conversation. All right. Now, I know that we have been covering a lot of other cases, and don't worry, we're keeping our eyes on all of them. Okay. And I was hoping to do an update on one yesterday, but because of my shoddy, like they were doing some sort of construction. I don't know what they were doing in my area, but everything was pretty much just dead as far as internet. So hopefully we'll be doing some sort of cover, some sort of catch up on these other cases that we have been talking about as of recently. But we are here to talk about this young man. He was 19 years old. His name is Noah Presgrove. All right. He was found gone around September 4th of 2023 after a 4-day long party. He was celebrating, or he and along with a bunch of other friends were celebrating another friend's 22nd birthday. Now, this sounds like one hell of a party. Labor Day weekend, you're kicking it, you're having a grand old time. And the details that we hear about this party are pretty crazy. But to think that somebody was found, like this young man, was found on the side of a highway without any clothes on, with one of his shoes on, which we're going to get into more detail about that in a second, and gone. So a lot of weird things that are going on here. A lot of people are wondering, family especially, was this an accident? Was it not an accident? Did something happen to him and then his body was just thrown out the side of a car? Out of a moving car? Like I said, it just doesn't make sense. Even myself, I agree. It doesn't make sense that this young man would be found in his birthday suit with one of his shoes on. And just so you know, another detail, he was wearing another friend's shoe. So he had one shoe of his and another shoe that wasn't his. He had no clothes on. In fact, they say that he was covered. So when they found him, he was covered. They also, I'm hearing details of his pants that he had, or the shorts that he had, were neatly folded on the side of the road near his remains. And of course, there's other details that we're going to be getting into in just a little bit. But at the same time, at the end of the day, this does not make any sense. You know, again, this, and you know, for lack of a better comparison, this makes me think of some Riley Strain type of thing. You're out, you're kicking it, you're having a grand old time. He was at a 4-day-long party, 4 days of nothing but debauchery. And then suddenly he is found on the side of a highway, gone. No clothes on except for shoes. Again, make that make sense. Because if you really think about it, and of course we're going to get into some articles, we got a bunch of news clips, because this has been going on for 8-9 months now. The family, this case has been talked about for a while now. But now it's just getting national attention, at least over the last 2 weeks. It has gotten quite a bit of attention because a lot of people are wondering, how did this young kid lose his life on the side of the highway? Some people say, is it foul play? Some are saying, oh, no. It was an accident. Maybe he was playing too close or messing around too close to the road. Or maybe there was something that happened that made him fall out the back of a car or the side of a car. Man, there's so many questions here, it doesn't make any sense. Teeth are scattered across the highway as well. There's road rash. The details are absolutely horrendous here, okay? And I get it. If I were anyone in his family, I'd want to have some more clarity as well. But again, like I said, out here, he's having a grand old time. He's kicking it 4 days. It's a Labor Day weekend, basically weekend of nothing but debauchery, being young and having a grand old time. And then suddenly he is found on the side of the road like this. And everyone's still trying to figure out what's going on. Now, like I said, this makes me think a little bit of a Riley Strain type of situation where he's found without his clothes on, but his clothes are on the side of the road as well. He's covered up. When they found him, he was allegedly covered. Like I said, things just don't make any sense. And yes, John 5:5. Yes. Fingers were shredded and all that too, which we're going to get into that conversation in just a little bit. But I got an article, and like I said, I got a slew of, because this has been going on for a while. Okay, this conversation's been going on for a while. This case has been going on for a while. A lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on. They just recently put out the cause of demise, which is also very interesting. So that has been revealed as of yesterday. So we're going to be talking about that as well. We're going to be talking about a bunch of things leading up to the recent autopsy cause of his passing, etc. So, get your coffee like I got mine, because I know I started a little bit earlier, but like I said, your boy's busy out here. So I'm going to try to get this case in as quickly as I possibly can. And of course, if there's any more updates, we will be talking about, we will be covering that and I will let you guys know about those updates as well. So please do me a favor. Again, do me a favor. Okay. Before we jump into everything, hit that like button down below, please. And thank you. Okay. That helps get the story out here. That helps get the conversation out here. And I know not a lot of people know about Noah Presgrove's case. Not a lot of people do. So hopefully by us having a conversation, more people will. Okay. And that helps. It also gets it out there by hitting that like button. Okay. And of course, don't forget to hit that follow button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right. One thing real quick. I got a super chat. Let me grab this. Savannah, thank you so much. Good morning. Prayers to you and your family. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I really, really do. Okay, guys, let us get into some things. All right. Because like I said, this one is wild. I've never heard anything like this in my life. I mean, I've heard of 4-day parties. I've heard of, hey, you're going out to a weekend by the lake or by a body of water. It's Labor Day weekend. It's the last time we get to kick its last few days of summer, right? We're going to celebrate it like how we usually do. All right. I've never heard of a 4-day party, but I've definitely heard of, like, you go somewhere and you kick it and you have a great time, right? So the thing is, let's get into this. It's like I said, just how he turns up, how he's found, except all that just doesn't make sense. But let's take a look at this. Oklahoma teen's wild 4-day party before he was mysteriously found in his birthday suit. We got to use these code words, unfortunately, and found unalive on a lonely highway at just 19 years old. Now, there's been updates on this and all that, but this was something I wanted to share with you guys. Okay. A teenager was drunkenly having his bottom painted and daring friends to slap him at a raging party hours before he was found unalive by the side of the road. Now, I do want to say this too, really quick. You're going to see in some of the videos that Ashley Banfield actually shares on her show, you're going to see some of these images, some of these things of him having a good time, them kicking it, and exactly what he's saying what they're saying that he was doing. You're going to see those in these videos in just a little bit, not right off the bat. Okay, because we're kind of leading up to the Ashley Banfield stuff, because I know that Ashley Banfield from News Nation, shout out to Ashley Banfield, but she and her team have been doing a really good job just following up on this particular case, and that's where I've noticed all the updates. That's where I've been getting all these updates from, just so you guys know. All right, and for those of you guys who want to cover this case, all right, so here it is. Noah Presgrove, 19 years old, was wearing only his shoes. Actually, correction, he was only wearing one of his shoes. Okay, he was wearing somebody else's shoe as well, one of his friend's shoe, which makes no sense. But he was wearing only his shoes when his body was discovered on a desolate stretch of US 81 in Terral, Oklahoma, on September 4th. He was last seen alive at the 4-day 22nd birthday party with friends over the Labor Day weekend that was heavily documented on social media. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see even under here, this is all that weekend, that 4-day weekend, or that 4-day party weekend. 4 days of debauchery. Let's be real. Presgrove and his friends graduated from Comanche High School just a few months earlier, and his family said he planned to join the military. But that weekend, they were drunkenly celebrating the end of summer with a raging, I'm thinking it's a raging party. That's what they meant at the birthday girl's home, detailed in videos obtained by Daily Mail. Okay. And I mean, this is just some of it. All right. They're having a good time. They're doing stupid stuff. They're getting drunk. They're doing stupid stuff. Okay. One video from the night he passed showed some of Presgrove's friends writing their names on his bare bottom with marker. The writing was not there when his body was discovered in the early hours of the morning, but it was not known how and when it was removed. Other photos show the teenager writing on the buttocks of another friend and posing alongside them with a signature on his chest. Two more videos show Presgrove daring friends to slap him across the face as they partied under an outside patio at the house. Presgrove had to repeatedly insist that a male friend hit him, eventually only giving him a light tap before sprinting away in fear of retaliation. Another concerning photo appeared to show a teenager holding a rifle with Presgrove visible in the foreground. That's interesting. I mean, you see the signature, and he's already kind of has a little bit of some sort of bruising going on his hand. You see that? And of course, this is what they describe the signature on his chest. So they must have some sort of like paint pen or something like that they're messing, they're painting and signing and doing stupid stuff. Okay. Here's another photo. I mean, this is a whole weekend of ridiculousness. Let me remind you, he's also 19 years old. He just graduated from high school. Okay. He and a bunch of his friends just graduated from high school months before. This is the last summer that they're all getting together before they have to go off to school, go to their colleges. He's going to the military and all that. Pretty crazy. So there's the rifle. There's the rifle. Now, one thing I'm kind of curious, it says another concerning photo appears to show a teenager holding a rifle with Presgrove visible in the foreground. Now, I am curious, could that just be like a BB gun? I'm just saying, could that just be right here? Could that just be a BB gun? I'm curious. Again, it could very well be. I mean, I'm sure they've done their research, they've done their due diligence, et cetera, to see if what that was, you know what I mean? If that really was a rifle that shoots bullets, or if that was a BB gun. That could have very well been a BB gun. But it could be a serious pew pew. You never know. But let's continue on, okay? Remember, you saw that photo. He's doing this and he's got the painted, signature on his chest. I mean, sometimes boys get messed up and they get really rowdy, meaning they not only do they get rowdy, like, just hooting and hollering and doing crazy, stupid stuff and try to do stupid stunts and whatnot, but there is a possibility that there could have just been people roughhousing. From my understanding, he's an athlete. He's a high school footballer. What are the chances of them getting drunk and doing their own version of Fight Club? Let's wrestle. Let's throw some things around. Let's show the girls that are at this party how much machismo is oozing out of our bodies by wrestling and messing around. Let's show how masculine we are, how alpha we are. I'm just saying, it's a 19-year-old kid. My dog concurs. It's a 19-year-old kid, okay? Anything is possible, right? Now, I've heard stupid things happen with even adults doing stupid things like that, trying to show displays of machismo, that rico suave. I'm just saying, could it possibly be? Because if you're hearing, and just from the information that we've already heard so far, They're slapping each other in the face. They're doing all these things, right? He's like, slap me in the face. Could there be a thing where he's just wrestling around with people, messing around with people, trying to show off how masculine he is to impress these girls? He's 19. It doesn't sound, so far, I haven't heard anything about a girlfriend. So it sounds like he's 19 and single and drunk. And he's out there for 4 days kicking it. I mean, this photo says a lot to me right here, too. Having a grand old time. And if he happens to, have a little bit of fun, little consensual hibbity dibbity, I'm just saying. Right? But it still does not. I guess I'm curious. Is this a thing where things went too far? He wrestled with somebody, or maybe the slapping turned into a fight, or something of that sort that just went too far. And then suddenly he's gone. Just saying. I'm just asking the questions, right? But that is very interesting nonetheless. Let's continue on, though. Presgrove's family complained his friends all claimed to have no idea what happened to him and how he ended up unalive by this roadside just hours later. The OSBI described his demise as suspicious days later, but almost no details have been released about the investigation. Even Presgrove's family said they were in the dark, and the Oklahoma Highway Patrol refused to provide any details to maintain the quote-unquote integrity of the investigation. They haven't even seen the medical report or been told his cause of demise, and claimed not to have heard from police since last year. I'm just going to say this really quick. Doesn't this sound a little familiar? On another case we're talking about? About another kid? He's missing right now. He's 15. There's claims to have been a sighting of this 15-year-old boy. Just a dead giveaway here. TBI. Now you can fill in the name there. TBI ain't telling one of the parents what's really going on in the investigation. Not at all. And it's been damn near 60 some days. Well over 2 months. Don't that sound familiar, though? Oh, by the way, this is a completely different state. We talking about Sweet Home Oklahoma. Wrong song, but you get what I'm saying. Interesting, right? This is important. This piece right here, especially with the part that they said that they haven't even seen the medical report or his cause of demise for months, by the way. Keep that in the back of your brain, because that information is going to come back. That conversation is going to come back very shortly. Just want you to, just dropping in those breadcrumbs, foreshadowing. That's what they would say in literature class. This is foreshadowing. Important. Cause of demise has not been told to parents. Police have not had any contact with the family since last year. That's a lot to consume, but like I said, just giving you a fair warning right now. Foreshadowing. Okay? Let's continue on, though. Very interesting, though. The scant documents available showed cops were told conflicting stories and initially believed Presgrove could have been unalived in a hit and run. Now, this is the thing. There's a possibility of there being a hit and run, for sure. Okay? But I want you to say something. I want you to know something. And then, of course, there's another photo with him and one of his boys posing with a friend on the Sunday night of the party, hours before his demise. Okay, another one right there. Not the greatest gesture to put up there, but anyway, we will continue on. Okay, and put this up to, man, all these photos are, well, he's wasted. Okay, but one thing I want to point out, people that were at this party don't have any idea how this happened. Now, there's a couple things you can think of. One, it's 4 days of debauchery. You see, even in this photo in the far back, red Solo cups everywhere. You got one of those things the girls drink out of the Yeti, whatever the hell that thing is. You know what I mean? Some of y'all women wanted to kill each other for that thing. What was it? That thing, the cup, the Stanley. Okay, you got some Stanleys. Okay, you got people drinking tall boys in the background. Everyone's having a great time. So maybe they were so drunk that they don't remember anything. They were so gone that maybe majority of the people don't remember every single detail that happened here with him. Also, you got to remember, he was found on the side of the road, and if I'm correct, geographically about a mile away from the house. So not everybody's going to know every single detail. And if everybody's messed up and jacked up and all that, you're not watching every single person's move. Not like that, at least. So are there any possibilities of people really knowing what happened to him? Except for maybe a select few that were right by him or nearby him when and if he was either hit on the side of the road or thrown out of a car on the side of the road. In my mind, I keep thinking that what if there was a situation where he was kicking it, they needed to re-up, meaning they needed some more booze. And he said, all right, I'm coming with y'all. Somebody else who has a good fake, or one of the other kids that was there that is of legal age was like, yeah, I'll go for the beer run. And he said, I bet I'm coming with you. I'm coming with. I need, I want to do something. I'm getting bored being in here. Whatever it may be. I need some McDonald's. I don't know. I need some White Castle. Whatever the hell it may be, right? He gets into a car, they drive down, and then either something happens, something sinister happens, or something tragic, like a tragic accident happens. That's a possibility. So then the only people that could possibly know are the people that were inside that car, if he was riding along in a car. The other part is he was a mile away from the house. So then what happened here? Did he take a walk with somebody? Did he walk down there by himself? Because suddenly he just wanted to see, like Brian Koberger, he just wanted to see the moon and the stars. I don't know. But how does he end up on the side of this highway in which he gets either hit by a vehicle, semi, and is found without his clothes on the side of the road? Mind you, some of his clothing was by him too. So what happened here? What happened here? And you got friends that don't have any idea what happened. And of course, you got conflicting pieces of information, which I understand that piece, because not everyone's going to have, they're all drunk kids. They're all smoking, drinking, doing whatever. Not everyone's going to have a consistent timeline, especially when their minds have already been altered with some sort of substance for a whole weekend. Okay? So let's continue on. There's more. Instead, it was possible he could have, quote unquote, been forcibly pushed from the bed of a moving truck based on blood evidence. Boom. His family said all they were told is that he suffered head trauma, but not sure if that was his cause of demise. Some of them are convinced he was unalived, emmed, and his body was dumped by the road. still in view of the house where his friends were partying. The longer you keep the truth inside, the guiltier you become. You could aid in getting justice for Noah. This is what his sister, Madison Rawlings, said. You could do the right thing and may receive a mercy that was not given to him, but the longer you sit in silence, the worse it becomes for you. I agree. I agree. I mean, it looks like a kid who just likes to have a good time, just like any other person. Help those involved see that that we are not budging, and the silence fuels our desire to know more. I miss Noah daily. This is the hardest chapter of my life, but I am thankful that I have a family that will not give up on each other. This is Presgrove's grandmother, Deborah Smith, also called on his friends to tell the whole story about what happened the night he passed away. When you think you have friends that you trust with all of your heart, and then here it comes. Sorry, Noah, that some of your true friends stabbed you in the back. A piece of my heart is missing in every day that goes by, and Noah doesn't walk through the door, and is still no answer. Just takes another piece of my heart. I mean, this whole thing, it's so odd to me. This whole thing is so very, very odd to me. Okay. It still doesn't make any sense what actually happened to this young man. Because let's be real. If this was just some random tragic accident, somebody knows. And see, I still don't think this as an accident. Because how does one accident happen without there being someone there to go, man, I hit him. I can't believe I hit him. It was an accident, man. Somebody's out there gone. Kicked rocks, ran off. If this was a hit and run, there's somebody out there that did that. So still foul play, because that's still somebody leaving the scene of a crime. If he was walking out there with some of his friends and he was doing something random, trying to be goofy or something like that, maybe it was him streaking and that went wrong. That's still people seeing an accident actually happen. It's not like he just jumped up and, tried to do a backflip and he fell on his head. It's not that. So no matter what, foul play is involved. No matter what, there is somebody out there that knows the truth of what happened to him. And the fact that they are holding that information, to me, says foul play. If it was a car accident, him falling out the side of a car, whatever it may be, where are those people? If they have already stepped forward and said, yes, this was an accident and this is what happened and I saw it all with my own two eyes, or the person who was driving the car that actually hit him and all that stuff, if they have stepped forward, then there would be no question about this right now, guys. There'd be no question. Because that person, if it was an accident, would already be brought in, detained, questioned, and all of that. And then they would have to face the music however they need to face the music. But given the fact that there is no one coming forward and saying anything, says something odd. Like I said, doesn't make sense. If he even walked out there by himself, somebody hit him with something. He didn't do it himself. How could he have done it himself? It'd be physically impossible for him to do it himself. Do you see what I'm saying? Regardless if he was like, ooh, we're going streaking, and he's dropping his pants and he's doing all this stuff, and he backs out like this, and suddenly he gets hit by a truck or a car like that scene in Final Destination, that'd be a different story. But still, that person's gone. They ran off. Foul play is still involved. So that's the thing I don't understand. Why police, OSBI, etc., are not looking at this and going, hey, something ain't right here. Something just ain't right. Because something ain't right. Regardless of how you fry this egg, it's still an egg. It is still an egg. So it doesn't matter. Every time that they're sitting there going, oh, well, he was just drunk. He just did some stupid things and all that. So then who's the person who actually inflicted the pain onto him? Or who is the person that saw him fall off the back of a truck? If he was sitting in the bed of a truck, someone would have seen that. So no matter what, some sort of foul play is going on, whether they are just withholding information because they're scared of talking, or if somebody actually hit him with a semi or with an actual truck. The fact that there's no information and it's still a mystery says foul play. You know what's frustrating? And maybe some of them are watching the show right now. Maybe some of those kiddos are watching the show right now. And I appreciate you gracing your time in watching this show. If you are watching the show, it's insane for me to think they're actually watching the show, but you know what I'm saying. I want you to know that by you withholding that information, if it is an accident, you're just making it worse for yourself. Why not just say what happened? Even if it was like, oh, I just nudged him on the, while we were in the back of the car and he fell. Like I said, the more you hold out, the longer you hold out, the worse it gets for you. The sister even said that. And I agree 100%. If it was just an accident, why not just fess up to it? If something sinister happened, then what's up? Here's another possibility. What if he was roughhousing with one of his boys? They're walking, maybe they were walking to the local gas station or something like that, the local convenience store to re-up, maybe get some Gatorade, whatever it may be. And he just was roughhousing with somebody. And then all of a sudden, the guy shoves him and he walks into traffic and boom goes the dynamite. Maybe that. But the fact that you're not giving out the information, you guys can fill it in the sentence right there. So I got a couple of videos, news articles that I want to share with you guys because there is a gang of them. And it starts from 7-8 months ago when they first started talking about this case. And we go all the way chronologically, for the most part, into more updated information. Okay? So sit tight. We got some things to look at. Let's rock and roll. Hit the number one. Let me know you guys can hear this.
Since his death, the family of Noah Presgrove has searched for answers on what the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is calling, quote, suspicious. Now they're turning to the public for help. I sat down with the 19-year-old's family, who says no tip is too small.
He was good-hearted. If he needed anything, he was there.
A family in mourning after 19-year-old Noah Presgrove was found dead on the side of Highway 81 earlier this month. Now they're looking to the public for help in solving his case.
Just finding out what really happened is our biggest goal. Now, that's what we're really wanting to ask people about, is if you know something, let us know.
The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation has declared the teen's death as suspicious, adding that they're waiting to receive a cause of death from the medical examiner's office. Presgrove's aunt says their family is also waiting and haven't been given many details.
Because of the investigation, the OHP isn't really releasing a whole lot of information because they don't want it to get out.
The recent high school graduate had plans of joining the service. His family spoke about his passion for sports adding how he was loved by so many. Now they're asking Presgrove's adoring community to help bring them closure.
This is as loud as it gets, guys. I'm sorry. I got it cranked all the way up. All right. But we got more. So just sit tight.
I mean, we need to know exactly what happened. There's too many stories out there. Too many.
While also reminding the public of what kind of person her grandson was.
Everybody says they loved him. He was a true friend. So speak out, say something. Stand up for him. He would have stood up for you.
I agree 110%. I mean, this kid deserves justice if it needs to be had, but this kid also deserves transparency on what actually happened to him. Because to me, it looks like this is just a regular kid that just wanted to have a good ass time with his friends. One last hurrah, all right? One last party before he has to go off to military, before his friends go off to college, before they all get distant because of life. These are friends that he's not going to see every single day at school anymore. Everyone's going to go off to college or do their respective whatever, go to a trade school, whatever it may be, and go into life, go into adulting, right? This is just like any other kid, just wanting to have a good time and saying their goodbyes in a certain way. He seems like a good kid. Now, I know we're only seeing things from photos and whatnot, but at the same time, seems like a good kid. Like to have a good time just like any other person. But they're doing him a real disservice by not telling, if they have any information, what actually happened there. It's frustrating. And it's wrong, in my personal opinion. Because somebody out there knows what happened here. Somebody knows. Whether that's somebody he was walking with, riding in a car with, whatever. Somebody knows something. Even the person who was potentially driving that truck or that vehicle that may have hit him. Somebody knows something. There's no way somebody was driving that truck and they were like, say that he got hit by a semi. There's no way that person who was driving that semi didn't know that they hit somebody. Ain't no way. Even so, we're going to learn in a little bit that the injuries that he received are not really that consistent of him getting hit by some sort of semi. We're going to get into that in just a little bit, but let's get to this one too.
We start tonight with a News 4 exclusive. News 4's Spencer Humphrey sat down with the family of Noah Presgrove, the 19-year-old who was found dead on the side of a Jefferson County highway back on Labor Day weekend.
7 months later, they still have questions. Spencer.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Noah's family came out in full force tonight, at least 24 of them coming together to tell me about the lack of answers they feel they've gotten from the people tasked with investigating Noah's death, leaving them no more sure what happened to him than they were the day he was found dead.
It's weird that this is 7 months later, or at least, during the recording of this actual video here from this news station. It's crazy to me that it's been 7 months. And this is the thing that scares the hell out of me because, as a person, shoot, even as a parent, say something happens to your kid that's mysterious, and God forbid that ever does happen. I don't wish this on my worst enemy, this type of treatment and whatnot. But it's still scary to me that there is no closure for this family. 8 months later, there is still no closure for this family. Let me say that one more time. There is still no closure for this family. That's crazy to me and terrifying because you got family that are trying to figure out everything. And it seems like law enforcement could just be dragging their feet. And that's the thing that's frustrating about it too, because it seems as if when it comes to, even with Riley Strain, even with Sebastian Rogers and all these other cases that we've covered as of late, police look at the situation and they go, okay, there's no foul play, so we can move on. And it's like, wait a second, there's a potential foul play. You're not looking at it. You're not looking at the case. This is my kid. Treat it properly. Act accordingly. Start giving a damn. No foul play? Huh? What you talking about? But this is the thing that we hear a lot as of late. Police automatically, they look at the facts that they have, and then they just say, okay, it is what it is. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that they're wrong all the time. I'm not even saying that they're wrong. But at the same time, you got family that's going, I feel something different. Can you at least give us the breadcrumbs that led you to this finite decision for you not to look into what happened to my loved one? I see that. It seems like we're hearing that story a lot more lately. It's like this new fad or something. This is crazy, yo. Crazy.
7 months is a long time.
Every single day I think about him.
A long time for Noah Presgrove's aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, and grandparents to reflect on the 19-year-old's short life.
Not a time when you saw that boy did he not give you a hug, tell you how much he loved you.
He was goofy. He was hilarious.
Fearless.
Very fearless.
I've taught him life and about having fun in life, and he's just always been there with us.
It's been a long time to wonder what led to Noah being found dead, lying on the side of Highway 81 in rural Jefferson County after a night partying with friends back on Labor Day.
At the end of the day, what we know is that he lost his life. He was found on the side of the highway, and it appears that he was dumped there. And someone knows what happened, and we want to know what happened.
And when you don't have answers, you can't close your heart from that heartache.
Hold on. Let me let them say that.
Hoped investigators with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol would help fill in some of those gaps. But investigators told them something else.
That they're working on it and they just want to keep it quiet.
Noah's family says investigators won't share them the medical examiner's report, which could at least tell them what caused Noah's death.
We're just not getting no answers.
I feel that we've been pretty much left in the dark for the past few months. They say that they're working on it, but nothing's happening.
Right now, they're just left to guess.
You can't move past. You just keep living in the anger.
And hope that someone, anyone who knows more will feel it in their heart to give this family answers before 7 months turns into 8.
And it already turned into 8. But at the same time, I'm kind of curious about this as well. Why isn't there any sort of transparency, any sort of update, anything as of the reporting of this, as of the recording of this video? Remember, I said foreshadowing, which we are going to get to in just a little bit. But again, it still just doesn't make any sense, right? That law enforcement and all that have been holding on to information, and the family's been begging and pleading for them to release that information, at least to the family. And they didn't do that for months. Now, you've heard about autopsies and all that taking a little while. But you're telling me family didn't know, for Noah's family, they didn't know anything about his demise or cause of his demise at all? Nothing about his autopsy results? None of that? That makes no sense. For months, almost a year. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, guys. We got more, though. Let's get into this. We got some Ashley Banfield. Actually, a lot of this is Ashley Banfield, and we got to crush through these. So just so you know, okay? And, credit goes to Ashley Banfield and News Nation. Real talk. They did a damn good job covering this case as of late. So let's take a look at this.
September 4th, he was found dead less than a mile away from that party on the side of a rural highway. He was naked except for his shoes. And to this day, neither Noah's family nor the police know how he got there. But now the family is sharing some heartrending details that they do know.
Now, real quick, I want you guys to see this little like map here. Obviously, you see right there, it says party house. So the party house right here. And then his body was found all the way over here. Way down the road. So a part of me wonders, why was he heading in that direction? Or why was he even found that far away from the house, from where all of his friends are and all that? And I keep wondering, do any of the people that were at that party remember him leaving with a bunch of people? Maybe they were taking a walk. Maybe there was, smoking a little bit and taking a walk, just checking things out. You feel me? And then they're maybe going down that way to re-up. I don't know, but something just ain't right here. And let's not forget all the other things how he was found, which she's going to get into more detail here in just a minute. It just doesn't make sense. Less than a mile away from the party, and he's found on the side of the road, buck naked. One of his shoes and somebody else's shoe on. Some ain't right.
That haven't been made public before. They say an investigator told them the back of Noah's head was caved in, that he had road rash on his hip and gravel rash on his shoulder.
Real quick, there's a lot more to this, but I'm just saying his back of his head was in such a way. Road rash, gravel, all those things. Sup with that? Yes. Caved in, Jasmine. Caved in. Okay? Come on, man. Come on. That don't make sense. That just does not make sense. And real quick, guys, I appreciate you guys for being here. I see a lot of y'all like stargazing, sitting there saying, thank you so much for covering this. This was such a tragedy and no one is talking. Yes, no one is talking and I'm wondering why. But I will say, I do appreciate you guys coming in and watching the show and being a part of this. Because of you guys, I had many, many emails and DMs of you guys asking me to cover this case. And so it's an honor to be here to talk to you guys about it. But one thing that can help this story get out there a little bit more, and of course to honor Noah as well, is to simply hit that like button down below. I'm sorry. Hit that like button down below. It gets the story out here. It gets the conversation out there a lot more. This family still is looking for any type of transparency. And if there needs to be justice, hopefully by you hitting that like button down below, it helps get him closer to getting some sort of justice and giving this family a little bit of peace. Because for a fact, this family is not at peace right now, nor is Noah, because no one knows what happened to Noah. So hit that like button down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, of course. Let's get back into this, okay? But he was found that far, and she's not even done describing what else was found on his remains. But this is some crazy stuff. Let's go.
And multiple bruises. A friend's dad who went to the scene says that some of Noah's teeth were scattered on the ground. A pair of white shorts was a few feet away. And the shoes that Noah had on, only one of those shoes belonged to Noah, and the other shoe belonged to a friend. At the funeral home, Noah's body was bruised all over and swollen. Noah's aunt says that it was obvious his nose and his cheek were broken. His cousin says that his fingertips were shredded, as if he'd been holding on to something for dear life. I'm joined now by Noah's aunt and his cousin, Robin Smith and Ashley Chadwick. Robin and Ashley, thank you so much for being here again tonight.
One thing, though, too, is I'm wondering, because to me, it sounds like he was getting dragged. It does sound to me like he was getting dragged. to a certain extent. To what extent, I don't know, but to a certain extent, it seems like he was getting dragged. Whether he was getting dragged behind a car or maybe he fell off the car and he was trying to hold on for a second before, before his, he lost his life. I don't know. But somebody saw something. Somebody had to operate that car. If he was being dragged by a car, somebody knows something. Let's continue.
It's hard to read those details and have you listening. I know you're listening and I know you've been living this. And I just can't imagine how you're processing all of it. I'm also very curious how the investigators explained those details to you. Robin, can you field this first one? What did the investigators say when you learned about the extent of these injuries?
They said that they didn't think that this was from a vehicle. It wasn't an auto ped. There was no indication of wraparound. There was no indication of any kind of injuries to the lower half of his body. So his pelvic would have had injury, his legs, but there was nothing on the lower half of his body. Everything was to the top of his body on the left side. There was a wound to the back of his head, different skull fractures. He had ribs broken, and it was all on the left side.
All on the left side, upper part of his body. All on the left side, upper part of his body. That's interesting.
When you say no wraparound, is that the terminology they use? If it had been a hit and run, there'd be some indication that he would have somehow wrapped around whatever it was that hit him?
Yes, whether it was from the front or the back. If he had been hit forward, he would have gone forward over the hood. And if he had been hit from the back, he would have splayed back over the hood. And there was no indication of that whatsoever.
Interesting.
I know in another case that we covered, there was some talk about what about a rear view mirror of like a semi or a big heavy truck? Could that have been it if he were on the side of the road and got sideswiped with a rear view mirror?
No, they said that so Noah was tall. He was 6'2", 6'3". He was a tall kid. So even a normal car would have been too short, especially for the injury on his head. But if a normal car had hit him, that there would have been plastic in the road. There was nothing. There was nothing at the scene. If a semi or a truck mirror had hit him, they said, and this is a little graphic, but that his head would not have remained attached to his body at those highway speeds. The speed in that area is 65 miles per hour. It's rural Oklahoma. Everybody's doing a
little bit faster than 65. And I understand that piece. And that's pretty crazy to think that if they were going even over a little bit over 65, that a side view mirror would not just cave in the back of his head. It would just they would take his whole head straight off. So yeah, something weird happened here, guys.
little bit more than 65.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I can see how they've sort of, by the process of elimination, tried to explain some of these things, but still without answers. So Ashley, when you went to the funeral home, tell me a little bit about the experience and what you saw when you were there.
When I had went to the viewing at the funeral home, I was there roughly a total of 7 minutes. I did not last long. I spoke to my family when I arrived, and I went into the room of where his body was. And whenever I approached the casket, I immediately saw that he did not appear of what he normally looked like. His face was so swollen, and you could tell with the makeup, like they tried their best. He was really dark complected. The bruising all over his body was tremendous. When I looked at his hands, his fingertips looked as if he was like kind of hanging on or reaching out for something or doing whatever he possibly could to get away from whatever it was, as I'm assuming, because his fingertips were so like beat up. They were kind of like shredded in a sense. I don't know how best to put it in terminology.
One thing I do want to say, we saw that photo where he had like the painted signature on his chest and he had his fingers up like he was, doing this whole pose. His fingers were there was a little bit of red, like a little bruising going on there for sure. Like it looked like there was some cuts on his hands. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that his hands were shredded in that photo. No, but I keep thinking that even in the photos or even in the photos and the videos, there's depicting of him like roughhousing with people. He's going up to a girl and he's like, I want you to slap me in the face as hard as you can type thing. We're seeing all that. So he was already roughhousing with a lot of people. So I keep thinking that maybe this roughhousing went a little bit too far, or someone got angry, someone got into their feelings, maybe someone's ego got messed with, someone got a little too sensitive, that it turned into something sinister. But, to me, it's like he was a little less than a mile away from the house party. Drunk out your mind, walking that distance is quite a distance. Would he have walked out there by himself? But then the fact that his hands were, his fingers tips were shredded, and all the other details that they said about the back of his head and whatnot, it makes me think that maybe he was roughhousing with somebody in the car because he could have been so belligerent drunk that maybe somebody was like, stop it, and just shoved him hard, where he loses control and falls out the side of a car or out the back of a car. I hate to say it like that, but those possibilities are possible, right? But let's hear what Joseph Scott Morgan has to say. He went on Ashley Banfield too.
More than 7 months after Noah Presgrove died in Oklahoma at the age of 19, investigators still haven't said how it happened or who might be responsible or really much of anything other than the death is suspicious. Tonight, we learned from Noah's family that when the teenager was found on the side of a highway back on Labor Day, the back of his head was caved in. Some of his teeth were missing. His nose and his cheeks appeared broken. His fingertips were shredded. He was naked, except for a pair of mismatched shoes, one belonging to him and the other belonging to a friend. I'm joined now by Joseph Scott Morgan, a certified death investigator and distinguished scholar at Jacksonville State University. So, all right, Joe, I want to go over that list. I want to pop it up on the screen just sort of as a guide here, because with your prism and how you look at things, I thought maybe this would tell a story that we're not seeing. Start with this. The back of his head was caved in. Some of his teeth were missing and scattered where he was found. His nose and his cheeks appeared broken. His body seemed beaten and swollen. His fingertips were torn up. There was gravel under his nails. There was road rash on his hip and gravel rash on his shoulder. We're working on getting the list up, but I know that you have a good memory. So, Joseph Scott Morgan, what does that tell you?
Yeah, this large injury that Noah sustained to the back of his head is interesting to me, because that is likely a point of impact, perhaps. Now, that impact can arise from any number of things: falling from a moving vehicle as a pedestrian, maybe being pushed out. It could also arise from an attack that preceded being left on the side of the road. So for us in forensics, it's very important to examine that particular injury very carefully. And at the risk of being too gruesome here, we would shave the head in that area to pick up on any particular pattern. Sometimes the road will produce stuff, but you can also have instruments that are used. Blunt trauma is what we're talking about here, Ash. And you look for that abraded pattern there. So that's something that we would certainly look at, particularly as it applies to this head injury. It sounds horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think you.
This man's a beast. He's very, very knowledgeable, by the way. Hopefully one day I get him on the show. I'd love to pick his brain on a multitude of different cases. But you guys got to check out his podcast, Body Bags. It's very, very thorough. It's very, very good, actually.
You and I did a couple of cases together where there's a lot of talk about, specific geographic locations of dirt or gravel.
Yeah.
Dirt here is not the same as dirt 15 blocks down the road. And so would there be an interest in figuring out the gravel that was found on his hip, the gravel that was found on his shoulder versus the gravel where he was actually discovered?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Forensic geology is what comes into play here. You begin to think about this area and the topography, also the composition of the local soil. And we're talking about a roadbed too. So folks at home will get an idea of what's referred to as like pea gravel. It's kind of the bed that's laid down. You can see it on the shoulders of the road. So I would want to make sure that anything that is recovered or was recovered from Noah's remains actually marries up with what you're seeing at that site, or did this occur elsewhere? That's going to be very, very important here in this particular case, because I got to tell you, Ashley, I've worked a lot of cases over my career where we've had bodies that were dumped along the side of the road because it's convenient for that to happen.
Yeah. The other thing is the investigator told the family, this has to be quick, but the gravel rash happened first and the road rash happened when someone placed him on the highway. That's
interesting, right? Road rash happened first and the gravel rash happened after he was placed on the side of the road.
That's what the investigators intimated to the family. What does that mean?
Well, the road rash itself that they're talking about, that almost sounds like a dragging event, Ash, and you'll get these kind of striated abrasions that come along with that. It's very distinctive when you take a look at this, and that's the transfer of the surface, the friction of the surface to the underlying skin. And keep in mind, and I got to say this, look, you're talking about a kid here that's completely nude. One of the things that I'm going to do anytime, it doesn't matter if male or female, doing a rape kit, going to do a rape kit. And I know that they said that they found underwear adjacent. I want to know the status of that underwear as well. Was it ripped away? Was it twisted and torn? That's something that we see in motor vehicle accidents. I want to know how the underwear got off his body, and I want to know where the rest of his clothing is.
I couldn't agree more. They should have ran a RKIS kit for sure. Maybe something did happen. Right. The other piece too is, yeah, he's absolutely right. As far as the underwear, even the pants that were found neatly folded on the side of the road, which we're going to hear in just a few minutes. All those things. It's like, were they ripped off of his body because of the drag on the ground, or not? The other thing too is I've heard so many stories about shoes getting knocked off, or a shoe getting knocked off because of the force of getting hit by a car, right? Both those shoes were still on his feet, but everything else was ripped off. Like I said, it's things that just don't make any sense unless he was to take off those pants and the underwear himself because he was just wasted. That's a possibility, but something still just ain't right. So I want to share with you guys a couple of the things. Okay. Of course, family and some friends, most friends. Well, no, family believes something sinister happened. We've already talked about that there's some sort of foul play, but there also has been some speculations towards a friend. His name is Jack. There's been a lot of allegations and speculation and side-eyeing in his direction as of recently, or as of the time that obviously Noah was found gone. There's been a lot of speculation that maybe he had something to do with the passing of Noah. Ashley Banfield from News Nation actually had a reporter go out and interview the friend, Jack, which I think is very interesting. And we need to take a look at this. He says this was an accident. He doesn't say that there's any sort of foul play. But I'm telling you right now, even if you go and you hit somebody and it's an accident and you still drive off, you leave the scene of a crime, that is foul play. And that's how I look at it. Okay, that's not an accident anymore. Now it's just you're leaving the scene of a murder. That's just how I see it. But let's take a look at what Jack has to say here. This is allegedly one of Noah's best friends, literally attached at the hip. If it's Noah, there's Jack. If there's Jack, there's Noah. Let's see what he has to say in this interview. Let's take a look at this.
News Nation correspondent Alex Capriello has been gathering all of this new reporting today. He joins me live now from outside of Terral, Oklahoma. Really remarkable reporting that you were able to get on both sides of this, now what seems sort of pitched debate between these families. Tell me what you learned today.
Yeah, really interesting hearing both sides of the story, one from family, another one from a very, very dear friend. We did the interview separately because I didn't want any sort of contamination of the things that they were going to say to me and their accounting of the story, but really great details from the both of them. I'll show you just very briefly. This is the cross that now stands on the side of the highway. Jack Newton, that best friend who is at the very center of this conversation, is the one who actually placed these crosses here on the ground. The house where the party was actually is less than a mile away that way. So really the story goes, as they are trying to piece it all together, is that at some point Noah actually just walked down this road at some point and his body was found not far from here. Let's begin with Jack's account, though, because Jack has a very different opinion about what happened than what his family members told me. And at the same time, he also shared new details about what it was like to have so much suspicion surrounding him and what it was like to pass a polygraph test. Take a listen.
I ran over here, asked him if Noah was okay, and the semi-truck driver had his hands on Noah like this. And so I just kind of, and I could just tell, you know, that he was not okay. He's laying on his side, and he just had his eyes closed, you know. And he had a cut on his forehead. Like, it wasn't just like terrible, like, I mean, it was just a cut on his forehead. The top of his hair was scraped off his head. And there was blood on his ears. 100% in my heart think that he was hit. I think he got hit on the top of his head by a semi. And that shoe that was on good just stayed on. I don't know. I can't explain any of it.
I mean, if he was to get hit, let's just say, by a side view mirror, wouldn't there be more to this? Because there's no way that it would just be like he gets hit by, you know, say the car's side view mirror collides with the top of his head. They say that it would have taken his head clean off. But then explain the dragging, explain the shredded fingers, explain the road rash, explain all that other stuff. What, he suddenly just got attached randomly to the side of the semi and he just continued getting dragged down the street, down the road a few more feet? It just doesn't make sense to me. Also, yeah, Nicole B, I was just about to say that, but yes, good point. Huge neck injury. Not only if it would be the severing of said top of body, right? The head, I mean. If it didn't do that, his neck would be broken. But that's not what they're saying here. So that's weird too. But let's continue.
You know.
Is there any part of you that believes that he might have been beaten to death?
No, he was not beaten to death.
Why not?
Wow.
Because just the injuries, you just could tell he's not. I said, okay, I'll take a polygraph test. I took a polygraph test, and I mean, it was nerve-wracking, of course. I had these two things on my fingers. I had a butt pad and then my feet thing, and these things around my chest. I mean, and I didn't even get to look at the guy. I was looking straight forward, and he was talking to me, asking me questions.
There's a lot of online chatter, and I think that's the reason why they're asking for you to take a polygraph test about you and your father. I mean, tell me about what that experience has been like for you to have to handle that type of discussion happening all around you.
I think the reason that I got brought into it is because, I mean, going through high school, you did not hear Jack's name without Noah and Noah without Jack. I mean, we were just always together. I mean, he lived with us for a while, and we were just always at each other's houses. I think when everybody heard something happened to Noah, they just said, "What about Jack?" And just, I don't know. I don't know where all the crazy talk's coming from.
Now, one thing I want to say really quick, you know, even it says in the lower third here that he took and passed the polygraph. Would he know? Would he know if he passed it? Would he actually know? Like I've said this before. We even had somebody call in and say he wouldn't know. So why would he know this? After he gets done with the polygraph, they walk up to him like, "Good job, son. You passed the polygraph. You go on and do your thing." No, they're not going to tell you you passed. So how the hell does he know that he passed the polygraph test? That's all I'm saying. This doesn't make sense. You know, we're hearing that on the Proudfoot stuff. Okay. Heard that all day with the Proudfoots. Yeah, we took the polygraph and we passed. How the hell would you know that you passed? Same thing with Jack. I'm not even alluding to the fact that he has anything to do with this young man's demise. I'm just saying, how does he know that he passed the polygraph? That's all I'm saying. That's a very strong statement, you know, to put out here. Okay. Best friend says he took it and he passed. That's weird. I don't know. But like I said, I'm not alluding to him being a bad guy. I'm not saying that he did anything. So please, guys, don't get that twisted. But I'm just saying that's interesting that he would know, of all people, that he passed this polygraph. I don't know about all that. But let's continue. Let us continue.
Just sucks.
Do you feel good to kind of be past that a little bit with the polygraph test?
I mean,
do you believe that you're past that or no?
People saying stuff. I mean, people are saying like it's easy to pass a polygraph and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. You can't really control what people say about it. You know, you just know what you know.
Is it really easy to pass a polygraph? Because if it is really easy to pass a polygraph, then they shouldn't be doing no more polygraphs. You know?
And I've put my personal number on Facebook and said, if you want to talk about it, I'll talk about it.
So what has these last 7 months been like for you?
I mean, it's always been the hardest time of my life. And on top of other people saying everything, just been the hardest time of my life.
And so if you could tell there from the very beginning of that interview, Jack was one of the very first people on the scene. He tells me that he was leaving to go fishing with his dad when he drove up the road, noticed all the activity, and then saw Noah's body right here, bloodied on the side of the road.
Pretty crazy stuff, right? And heartbreaking stuff. But we got the brother, okay? Now, one thing that he did say, one thing that Jack did say in this interview that I thought was a little interesting, because I'm kind of curious about it. He said he lived with us for a while. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that has anything to do with Noah's passing, but I am kind of curious about his background, his story. He lived with Jack and Jack's family for a while. Why? Why did he live with them for a while? And like I said, I'm not trying to unearth some family drama or anything of that sort, but if there's some information there that could be a connection to why he lost his life, I think that would be important information to know. But the way Jack says it, it's like this was like his brother. This was family to him. They were attached at the hip. They were inseparable. Wherever Jack was, Noah was there. Wherever Noah was, Jack was there. But I am kind of curious as to how close their connection really was. And why was he living at Jack's home? That's just some information I'd love to have on that. But apparently, brother had some things to say, and he even said himself, this is foul play. Let's take a look at this interview. And this is the same, pretty much like the same day. Okay, same interview, same day. This reporter interviews Jack and then goes and immediately interviews Noah's brother. This is very interesting. You got to hear what he has to say. Let's take a look.
Take a listen to my interview with him.
He just said that Noah was in an accident, and so I thought he was in the hospital, you know, and so I come by and I pick up my dad, and we start driving down there, and it's only a 30-minute drive from Comanche, but that drive felt like 2 hours just sitting in silence. And then we show up, and Jack and Caleb and the Jefferson County Sheriff was there, and Noah was covered up on the side of the road with the tarp. And it was just kind of a good 10 minutes just staring at fields, just at a loss of words, you know. When we show up there, everything's going through our minds of what in the world could, because it doesn't look like a hit and run sort of situation, you know. And some weeks go by, and we, you know, they finally rule out the hit and run, and that 4-day party turned into something awful that happened within just a short hour time span for him. I believe this is his tooth right here. His pants were folded up on that square mark.
You heard that, right? His pants were folded up a little ways from where his body was found. Why would his pants be folded up? I mean, unless, let me just say this, unless when they came to the scene, but that's the thing. If it's a crime scene, if they're treating it like a crime scene, they leave everything as is. They're not going to mess with the things. They're not going to move things around. They're not going to fold pants. They're going to leave the pants exactly where it is. So you mean to tell me that this young man's pants were folded on the side of the road? That's weird. That's very weird. But let's continue.
His pants were there. His tooth was right there in that circle.
I believe so, yeah. And his body was here. And he was in the fetal position, facing that way. And his body was covered up with a tarp or a blanket type of thing. And as you're looking at it, you can see blood seeping through the covering and onto the ground. As I'm looking at it, it just seems weird. The placement of the body, the tooth, the shorts, where they're at, doesn't look like a hit and run. Not that I've been aware of.
And have you ever heard them say foul play is suspected?
I've heard suspected of foul play, suspicious death. And again, they don't tell me everything because they don't want to ruin the investigation. But they said that they've got a couple of people in mind on the situation, and that they're really looking in on them. So,
are you able to tell me who those people are?
They haven't told me.
But they have said that they have a few people in mind.
Yeah.
Interesting. Somebody's got to know something.
Somebody's got to know something. You know, if there's 40 people standing around and someone, you know, walks off, somebody knows about it. So if 40 people are standing around and somebody gets into a fight, somebody knows about it, you know. And with how close everyone is, with how many pictures are taken on Snapchat, you think that something has to turn up. Somebody has to know something and just doesn't want to say it.
No doubt. Real quick, Tanya just said something. Pascal, sounds like demise by misadventure, i.e., car surfing or ghost riding, unfortunately, in my opinion. Now, here's the thing. That's a good point. He could have been on the back of a pickup truck, right? Holding on to the you know, towards the back, and somebody could have been blazing down the highway fast. He could have been doing that. He could have been standing on top of a car, or laying on top of a car, even sitting on the front of the car while somebody's blazing down the road. That's possible. You know, That's very possible. But still, at the end of the day, that would mean somebody knows what happened here, that they left him there, took off, checked on him, threw his pants on the side of the road, folded, and then took off. Again, it just doesn't make any sense. What, he just folded his pants neatly, placed it on the side of the road, and just walked into oncoming traffic? I doubt it. Because still, no matter what, if he was to get hit by oncoming traffic, that person is still out on the loose, still driving around here right now. Doesn't make sense, guys. Let's continue.
And has law enforcement been pretty open with you about the things that you're hearing or what they are investigating?
Somewhat, you know, they're willing to spread, like, talk about certain things, but then there's some things that's like they don't want to say too much because what if it messes up with the investigation, you know? And so there's a lot of areas that we're still in the dark about, that they know more about, and I'm hoping that they know more about the situation. That's kind of their job, and the only way we're going to get through this thing is if we're still hopeful.
Do you have any message for law enforcement or anything that you want them to know about how you're feeling or this lack of information that you're getting?
I get it. I get it that you want to protect the investigation. I get it that you want to protect the case so that way it's carried out. But quite frankly, 7 months is too long. I just hope that people see this and are able to, you know, just maybe it'll push someone to say something, you know, that they understand that it's being selfless. It's for someone else. It's for the true victim. If you know something, just say it. You know, it's better to say it and let the family have some sort of peace, to let Noah have some sort of peace, than to not say anything.
I agree. You know, it's better to say something than to not say anything at all, because somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. Even if it was that he had the last piece of communication with somebody and then all of a sudden, you know, ish hit the fan, you know, it doesn't matter. No matter what, there's something's not right and somebody knows something. Okay. But there is something I do want to share with you guys. Again, like I said, breadcrumbs, right? I said breadcrumbs. Okay. Let me just share this with you guys. All right. 1 second. All right. Real quick. All right. Cause of demise has been revealed for Noah. Okay. Which I find to be very, very interesting, because remember, they've been asking for something, some sort of report, some sort of anything from law enforcement. They've been asking what actually happened to him. What was his cause of demise? They've been asking this for months. But as soon as News Nation and social media caught wind about this case, finally, out of nowhere, they finally put out this information, by the way, yesterday. See, ain't it crazy that you have to, so much work you have to put into just to get one piece of information from certain things, from certain agencies, from certain law enforcement, etc.? That's insane to me. They've been waiting for months. And then finally, now they got something. But here's the interesting part. And it lays in here in this article. Let's take a look at this really quick. Okay. All right. It says, medical examiner's summary report. It says 19-year-old Noah Presgrove passed away of multiple blunt force injuries by the demise of the Oklahoma teen that was found on the highway patrol trooper by a highway patrol trooper on the side of the highway wearing only his shoes Labor Day weekend. All right. Remains shrouded in mystery. Now, one of the other things that I think is very interesting, it says in the one-page summary report, this particular doctor checked the box unknown for Noah's manner of demise. Okay. So you mean to tell me for months they've been wanting to know what the heck is going on, and they checked the box. Medical examiner checked the box that says unknown. Unknown. Huh? Okay. Okay. Make that make sense. Make that makes sense. Okay? That still ain't making any sense to me at all.
I have asked this question before, but here goes. Was Noah Presgrove murdered in Oklahoma, or did somebody kill him accidentally and run away? Or was it an accident, period? Random, tragic, nobody's fault. It pains me to say it, but even 8 months later, it depends on who you talk to. Noah, as you will probably know, is this 19-year-old high school grad whose battered body turned up on the side of a highway Labor Day morning last year, naked, except for his shoes, one of which was not his. From the outset, the police called it suspicious, which wasn't much of a stretch, but then they went radio silent, and the family never even got a proper death certificate. But 2 days ago, bombshell. Noah's brother told us exclusively the police said to the family they were looking at several people as possible suspects in Noah's death. Implication, foul play. That same day, News Nation paid a visit to the Oklahoma City Medical Examiner's office, asking why, after all this time, why they had failed to produce an autopsy report. And then voila, there's Alex Capriello. Just yesterday, they produced an autopsy report listing Noah's cause of death as multiple blunt force injuries, perhaps from, are you ready? Unknown vehicle. Implication, pedestrian accident. But then under manner of death, which is accident, homicide, suicide, natural, the ME marked unknown. So we ran all of that by Joseph Scott Morgan, who's our go-to certified death investigator and forensic analyst. And he pointed out something really interesting. That the assessment of the body was not done at the scene, and that the autopsy was done more than 24 hours after Noah was found, which is far from ideal. And now today comes a written statement from the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. And again, bombshell. They're investigating Noah's death along with the OSBI, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, and pay close attention to the operative line in the new statement. It reads, and I quote, currently the OHP is not investigating Presgrove's death as a murder, end quote. Which could be in line with the autopsy report. What about the family's report that police were looking at possible suspects? Do the police believe that Noah was a victim of homicide, death at the hands of another, but that it wasn't on purpose? And if so, they may want to have another chat with the ME. Or are the two investigating agencies not on the same page? Thank you for...
Interesting, don't you think? Like I said, I got cuestiones, and it doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any doggone sense. Okay, Savannah, thank you so much. Good morning. Prayers to you and your family. Thank you so much. I think I already did that one. Dr. Ed, what's up, man? Thank you so much. Thank you, Pascal. Thank you, Dr. Ed, just Julie. Welcome back to the family. Dr. Ed, I appreciate it. Dixie, high school friend, fell out back of truck and hit head almost past playing baseball bat to mailbox. Oh, I see. And that could be it too. Maybe there's some sort of activity going on, right? Elizabeth, thank you so much. Love this channel, but trying to become a member and can't figure it out, but it looks like you did. Welcome to the family. To Elizabeth and to Ashley, thank you so much. And I am Sam. Thank you so much for the love. Again, guys, it just doesn't make any sense. Okay. You had News Nation go up there to the actual police department and ask them what the hell is going on with this case, and then finally they just kind of poop out a report and say, "See, this is what happened." But then when they ask what happened to him, they say unknown, and then they still are sitting there saying, "We're not investigating this as an M. We're not investigating that as an M." Okay, but something happened to this kid. And somebody left this kid behind, no matter what. Somebody did something for this kid to lose his life. This wasn't just like he just, like I said, jumped up in the middle of the air and flipped over on the top of his head and lost it and unalived himself. That's impossible. So how would they sit there and say, oh no, we're not investigating this as an M, when there could have really been a hit and run situation going on here? That person hit that kid, unalived this kid, and then the kid lost his life, period, point blank. Okay? That's something that we all have to put into consideration for sure. Mimi, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, okay? But guys, that is the show. I got to get going. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Do me a favor. Thank you so much for the support. Hit that like button down below, please and thank you. Crush it. Don't forget to do that. Of course, hit that reaction button. Don't forget to hit that follow button on my Facebook page. That'll be greatly appreciated. Hit that Facebook. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Follow me on all my social medias, please and thank you. All right. You want to support the channel? Hit that join button down below. All right. And of course, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. Okay, guys? Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. I appreciate all y'all for being here. All right. Have a safe rest of your day. I will see you guys later on this afternoon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll talk to you guys soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.